Hi everyone, welcome back for another video. For those that don't know me, my name is Jade. On Instagram I'm FitFoodieJade and I create healthy, high protein recipes. So for today's video we are going to be making 5 high protein, healthy and delicious breakfast recipes. I'll be making a couple savoury, a couple sweet. So we'll be making some peanut butter and jam overnight oats, some 20-minute BISCOFF Weetabix, some Eggy tortilla cups, some protein porridge and finally a breakfast burrito. So let's get started. Currently Sunday for me. I'm going to start with all the meal prep breakfasts so that we can eat them throughout the week. So the first thing we're going to make is peanut butter and jam overnight oats. So for this recipe you're obviously going to need some oats. Any rolled oats should be fine. You need some Greek yogurt or skyr works as well. Obviously you need some protein powder, vegan or whey will do. Some milk, you can use any milk, I'm using almond. Obviously some peanut butter, I use the My Protein one. Some jam, that's kind of optional, and some frozen raspberries. So just a note on the oats, I actually use My Protein oats. Don't ask why I use gluten-free. I tried them one time to see if they would help with kind of digestion and they do no harm, so I get the gluten-free ones, but they do huge bags like this and normal oats, gluten-free oats, and they're so much cheaper long term. So if you're someone who eats a lot of oats, I highly recommend getting My Protein on a deal with a code always. But yeah, really good value for money. So to make the overnight oats, get yourself a tub or a jar or any sort of Tupperware that you have. Obviously if you're just having it at home then you can put it in a bowl, and the first thing we're going to do is obviously add the oats. Obviously if you want to make it higher calorie, add more oats, add more protein. If you want to make it lower calorie, then obviously reduce. I'm going to go for around 40 grams of oats today, and then I'm going to add the protein powder. So I'm going to put 25 grams in. Now I'm going to put in some yogurt. This is the key to creaminess. If you've ever had overnight oats and it's just not very creamy and it's more runny, then this is what you're missing. So I normally put about 50 grams of this in, which is about 1 large teaspoonful. And now I'm going to add the milk. So for whey protein I put about 50 millilitres of milk, and for vegan I normally put 100, but just add it slowly because every protein is different. And then we're just going to mix that all together until it's nice and smooth, add in some extra milk if needed. So in terms of how creamy you want it, you probably want it a little bit creamier than how you would like to eat it, because obviously the oats will soak overnight. So I'm going to add a little bit extra milk. I have went for a texture that is thick but still falls off the spoon, so after it's been in the fridge it should be nice, thick and creamy. Next thing I'm going to do is add some frozen raspberries. I just kind of do this freehand. Final thing I'm going to do is add some jam and then peanut butter. So I just take about a teaspoonful. Obviously if you are counting your calories and your macros, then definitely weigh this, especially the peanut butter, because that's obviously what adds quite a lot of calories. And there we have it, we've got some creamy peanut butter and jam overnight oats. Now I'm going to pop a lid on it, put it in the fridge overnight, and then I'll show you how creamy it is in the morning or later on tonight after it's been in for a good 5 hours or so. Okay, and now on to the second recipe, which will be another meal prep recipe, although this time you don't necessarily have to make it the night before, you can, but you can also make it 20 minutes before, or if you are using vegan protein powder, which I'll explain in a bit, you can pretty much eat it straight away, and that is my 20-minute Weetabix, and we're going to make it BISCOFF flavoured today. So for this recipe we obviously need some Weetabix. Again, we need some milk, you can use any. We need some protein powder, you can use whey or you can use vegan, and then I'm going to top mine with some BISCOFF spread, some BISCOFF biscuits and some banana. So for this recipe the first thing we're going to do is add the Weetabix to a bowl and just crush it with your hand or with a fork or whatever you want. I just use my hands. Again, you can use 2 Weetabix, 3 Weetabix, 4 if you want, just adapt it to your preference. Next thing I'm going to do is add some protein powder. I have the My Vegan speculoos flavour, which is amazing. So again, I've just added 25 grams of that. Then I'm going to add some milk, and just the same as the oats, depending on what protein powder you use, you might need a bit more, a bit less. But for 25 grams of vegan protein powder and 2 Weetabix, you'll normally need about 120 grams, 150. And then we're just going to mix that together. So I'm going to add a tiny bit more milk. The Weetabix does soak it up a bit and I don't want it to be too thick. So there we go, just a tiny bit of milk, and I like it nice and thick. So again, thick but falling off the spoon. So now I'm going to add the toppings. I have a banana here, so I'm going to cut up about half a banana and pop it on top. Then I'm going to add some BISCOFF to a little jar. I'm going to take about 15 grams, which is about a teaspoonful. I'm going to pop it in there and I'm just going to microwave it so that I can drizzle it on top. So I'll literally put that in the microwave for like 10 seconds and now it's nice and runny. And now I'm just going to drizzle it on top. And final thing I'm going to do is just crumble a BISCOFF biscuit on top. And there we have it. We have some BISCOFF flavoured Weetabix. If you're using whey protein, you probably have to pop this in the fridge for around 20 minutes just for it to get nice and thick. If you're using vegan, this should be thick enough to eat straight away. You can obviously make this the night before as well, so you can leave it in the fridge overnight. And I have used a bowl, but the same as the oats, you can pop it in a Tupperware or a jar and take it to work the next day. So the next recipe will be the last meal prep recipe, and it's a savoury one instead of a sweet. So those that don't have a sweet tooth in the morning, this one's for you, and it is my Eggy tortilla cups. Okay, so for this recipe you obviously need some tortilla wraps. I've got some salt, pepper there, 4 eggs, some reduced fat grated cheese, obviously you can use any cheese, and I have some bacon here as well. I would recommend that you use bacon medallions. As always, I can't get them in Germany, so I'm using this bacon, but bacon medallions or bacon rashers will work. So I'm just going to crack the eggs into a jug. Then I'm going to chop up or cut up 4 pieces of bacon. As I said, I would recommend bacon medallions, but you can use any. So I'm just going to chop those up so that they're in small pieces, and then I'm just going to pop that in with the egg. I'm now going to add some salt, pepper and some garlic. You can put whatever seasoning you want in it, and then I'm just going to mix everything together. And there we have our egg mixture. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a wrap and I'm going to cut it into strips, and then because I'm making 2 portions, I'm going to take a second one and do the same. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a baking tray with some silicone cases. I find the silicone cases really easy to clean and nothing ever sticks to them. So now I'm just going to take the strips, I'm going to put them like this and pop them in, and then I'm going to fill in the bottom, adding the little bits in as I go. Okay, so I've made 6 and I've just got a few tiny bits of tortilla left, and now I'm just going to fill them up with the egg. You don't want to make these too full, so about 3/4 of the way, and I can make a 7th one if needed. And the last thing I'm going to do is put some cheese on it, and now I'm going to pop these in the oven. I've got the oven preheated to 180 degrees fan. I'm probably going to put them in for about 15-20 minutes, but I'll let you know when they come back out. Okay, so the egg cups are ready. They look quite good. They've overflowed a bit, but I mean they'll still be perfectly edible. So I've just let them cool for a little bit, and now you can take them out, and there we go. So now I have just popped them in some Tupperwares, ready to take to work, and just microwave when I get there for, I don't know, a minute and a half or so, and they should be warm. You can also eat them cold, a bit like Starbucks egg bites. For today's last recipe, I will be making a kind of breakfast burrito, nothing too fancy, just with some ingredients that I've already got in the fridge, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So for the burrito, obviously again we need some tortilla wraps. I've got bacon again. You can use bacon, you can use it without bacon. I would use bacon medallions. We have some halloumi. I actually have this left over, so I'm going to put that in the burrito, which goes so good with some Nando's sweet chili jam. But you can use sriracha, you can use tomato sauce, you can use whatever you want. I have 2 eggs and again some salt and pepper. So I have made some scrambled egg, halloumi and bacon. So I have myself a wrap, and I'm just going to cut from the centre down to make a 1/4. And now I'm going to add the bacon and halloumi. Now I'm going to add the scrambled egg, and for the final one I'm going to add some chili jam. And then we are just going to fold it up. And there we have a breakfast wrap. I'm just going to fry it in the pan for a few seconds on each side to make it golden brown, and then it's ready to eat. Okay, so that has been frying for a few minutes. I'm going to leave that to cool for a second, and yeah, look at that. Absolutely delicious, and literally took a few minutes to make. So I would recommend that you eat this one straight away. It's probably not the best microwaved. I'm not a fan of microwaved halloumi, but you could do it if you wanted, but I'm going to go and eat it just now. So it is now almost a week later. It's now the following Saturday. I don't know why I ever think I can film on the same days that I work because it just doesn't happen. So I'm back today to show you how to make the 5th recipe, which is protein porridge. And I know a lot of people, including myself, have tried protein porridge and it's just not nice. It's either tastes burnt, it's grainy, or it's far too runny, and then you never try it again. So today I'm going to show you my absolute go-to method that gets it right every single time, no matter what protein powder you're using. So for this recipe we obviously need oats, we need some protein powder, we need some milk, but if you don't have milk you can use water instead. Again, I've just got almond, you can use any. I've got some water here. I have some frozen raspberries for the toppings. You can use obviously anything at all that you want, and I'm going to put some dark chocolate on top as well, but you can use any spreads, any fruit, any chocolate, anything you want. So the first thing we're going to do is add the oats. You can use any amount you want. I'm going to go for about 40 grams. Then at this point you can use milk or water. For this bit I'm just going to use some cold room temperature water. Now you want to put enough to just cover the oats. I think that's normally around 150-160 for 40 grams. And now I'm going to microwave it for a minute. Take it out, give it a stir, and then microwave it for another 30 seconds. Okay, so it's now been in the microwave for a minute and a half and it's really nice and thick. Now I'm just going to leave that to cool for a sec, and you can do this while the oats are in the microwave, but because of the noise I'm just doing it now. So this is the key to creamy, thick oats that are not grainy. So get yourself a bowl or a ramekin, and now we're going to add the protein powder. I always add 25 grams. And now again you can use water or milk for this. I prefer it with milk, so I'm going to use that. And basically you just need to add enough milk that the protein powder goes into a gooey paste. Normally for vegan protein that's about a 2-to-1 ratio, so I'm going to put 50 millilitres or just more than that for 25 grams of protein. For whey protein it's about a 1-to-1 ratio, so about 25 to 30 grams millilitres of milk. So I'm just mixing that together until I have a really thick paste, and now you mix it into your oats and then just keep stirring and adding it into your oats until it's fully combined. Okay, that's super thick, so if you want at this point you can add a bit more milk or a bit more water just to thin it down if that's what you want. If you like thick oats then you should have thick oats with that amount of water. And the last thing I'm going to do is add the toppings, and then I'm going to pop it all in the microwave for another 30 seconds just to melt slightly. You can obviously add the toppings at the end as well. And there we go. We have thick, creamy protein porridge that's not grainy, doesn't taste burnt, and is super thick. So that's all 5 breakfasts done. So if you got this far, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, I will link my last video, which was 20-minute meals, here. And yeah, I hope that brought you some inspiration, and I hope you have a great week.